Good afternoon from Toronto and good morning from Bogota. Few industries have a bleaker outlook right now than tourism due to the pandemic. But one country in South America, policymakers and business leaders are already thinking about how the industry can play a central role, not only in the country, but the continent's economic recovery, whenever that may be. This country is Colombia. Colombia has been one of the tourism's biggest success stories in the past 10 years, stepping away from the drug trafficking wars and guerrilla insurgencies, which so dogged it in the 80s and 90s, to shine on the map as an up and coming corner of South America, whose Caribbean beaches are as alluring as its Andean mountain tops and historic cities. However, its tourist industry is still relatively nascent, making most hopeful that the blow delivered by COVID-19 can be absorbed without too much damage to the industry. The country's potential as regional tourism hotspot has been recognized by Forbes, listing Colombia as one of the 10 coolest places to visit in 2019. And even during the pandemic, it made it to the Forbes bucket list for post-COVID. Talking to us about this and much more is Dr. Flavia Santoro, is the president of ProColombia. It is my absolute honor to welcome you to our Recovery Town Hall today, madam.
Thank you, Sumaira. The honor is mine, and thank you so much for this opportunity and for your generosity and your kind words about Colombia, a great country that I'm honored to serve as president of ProColombia and to promote.
Thank you and welcome again. Let's get started. Before the pandemic, tourism was an increasingly important sector in Colombia's economy. Foreign visitors to Colombia grew 300% between 2006 and 2019. The country's peace deal with the FARC guerrilla group opened up once inaccessible parts of the country, and foreign tourists grew an average of 8.5% in the 2 years after the deal was signed in 2016. In 2019, the industry employed 1.4 million Colombians and contributed 19 billion to the economy, equal to 3.8% of your GDP. Talk to us of that amazing period before the pandemic. Let's just focus first on that beautiful time that Colombia was experiencing.
Thank you so much, Sumaira. Yes, as you were mentioning, the strategy was working, and we were working on having all the opportunities for international visitors to come to our country and to enjoy all the richness, the cultural richness that we have and all the nature richness that we have. So we were working very hard in connectivity. We were working very hard in having all the sector in the private sector in tourism working with us in attracting all the events in Colombia, and we were having great numbers. So we have been very resilient in this situation, and we have to move forward. So the situation was, we were doing great with great numbers. As the president used to mention, the tourism was the new petroleum for Colombia. But right now we need to be real, and we need to get ready for this situation that all the world is living. So we're trying to get ready for this new reality in tourism. And I think since the strategy was working, and since Colombia was attracting great visitors to our country with sustainable tourism and with great opportunities of our richness in cultural and diverse, with 100,000 rhythms, I think that what we have now is that we have a great floor that we need to get ready and readapt and get ready for this new reality.
Right. And obviously the pandemic, like you have said, it's hit you like anywhere else in the world. There's been an impact. We cannot ignore that, right? Because there's been a closure of businesses, borders have pushed hotel occupancy below 3% nationally. I believe that over 200,000 jobs have been impacted. What's the outlook for tourism and hospitality moving forward? How is your country responding to the current situation? Talk to us about that.
Colombia remains optimistic about the future. We believe that the tourist industry, which promotes social and cultural respect, sustainability, and joy, will be at the center of the world's recovery. Once the virus recedes and tourism reopens, we believe that travelers will be increasingly interested in sustainable experiences.
Okay.
They will be more inclined. They will be more inclined in coming to our country. Okay. Colombia has a great advantage that we have to take advantage of it. We hope that we can soon welcome back all the travelers, but we are trying to, regain all the trust in Colombia, and we are trying to move forward into getting all the trust, working hard in that new reality, and we are trying to adapt to that change. Our government has provided tools to help the travel sector companies maintain the sector, the business refocusing and resizing the strategies, as well as redesigning all the products as well. And we are working very hard on getting ready with trust and getting ready with all the private sector for them to resume the activities, and in the coming weeks, with the proper protocols, a wider portion of the common, we will reopen.
Okay. So the lockdown has been lifted since July the 14th, and there is an ease of restrictions. But currently, all land and sea borders are closed to non-Colombian citizens and residents until 31st August, and a 14-day quarantine is still in place. However, last week, Colombia has announced that it is taking the chains off its borders, but the key will not turn fully in the lock until September the 1st. For now, its reopening will occur at a single location, the El Dorado Airport in the capital, Bogota, which sees 75% of the international traffic in any case. There, I think you will be welcoming back airlines like Air Canada, Air Europa, US budget operators, Spirit Airlines, and Panama, which is a national carrier, Copa. How important, how significant is this news?
The connectivity is very important, and we are working very closely with the airlines, and we are working very closely with the Minister of Transportation and with the Minister of Health in all the protocols. Okay. And we are confirming that the airlines will come back and that the connectivity will be something that will be ready with all the protocols to reopen again. We can assure you that we will have all the connectivity possible, that we as an agency, we are promoting that all the airlines can get the help, can have all the protocols of biosecurity, but also can work hard in getting ready for when we are ready to reopen in September 1st, as is planned right now.
Maybe I will come. I'm in Toronto, Air Canada.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Because, connectivity is a key factor to bring back international travelers to our country. There are 2 D-days. One is June 1st, when the sale of tickets was authorized, when international flights will begin their operations. Airlines like Air Canada, Air Europe, Spirit, and Copa, as you mentioned, announced they will restart flying to our country, so we will be ready. For that, the Colombian government had been working to establish all the rules required and to make sure that the restart will be with safety, with connectivity, and supporting all the companies. We are counting on airlines and airports to follow the biosecurity protocols.
Okay, that is good to know. And the airport is being really prepared. Sometimes it's an advantage when you open one airport at a time, So I think still you're keeping it very cautious and narrow, and starting with one main airport. Okay, so just moving on, Colombia eyes up tourism restart and travel bubble with South American neighbors. You have been talking to Ecuador, Peru, and all some other neighbors about setting up a travel bubble, as has been discussed between New Zealand and Australia or in European Union. Talk to us about this idea and the risks and the benefits. Is it going to come through? Because Australia and New Zealand, I've had discussions with their tourism heads I think last week, and there's been some problem there because Australia is again in lockdown, one of their provinces.
Yes, we are working also with the Pacific Alliance, for example, in that multi-sectoral connectivity with different countries. But I believe that first we need to work with the domestic tourism here in our country. I think that we will restart with the domestic travel, that will be the restart, followed by the regional and by the international travel.
Okay.
The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Tourism is working to effectively restart the domestic tourism, which will contribute to reactivate the different sectors involved in this industry. This, of course, includes hotels also, but right now I think that the connectivity is a key factor, as I was mentioning to you, to bring back the international travelers to our country.
So the focus is right now on the domestic. Okay. So
yes.
okay. So ProColombia launched a communication strategy in 8 markets that plays a key role in Colombia's tourism industry with a powerful slogan. With videos in Spanish, English, and Portuguese broadcast on media outlets and on social media across 8 countries. How important is this marketing campaign and strategy to jumpstart the tourism, both domestic and international? How has been the response so far? And tell us what this slogan is.
We are really convinced that the tourism industry has immense resiliency and that it will play a crucial role in the recovery of Colombia and in the global economy. We have used, as I was mentioning to you before, this time of isolation to prepare ourselves for when tourism activities resume. At ProColombia, as you were mentioning, we have been working on a recovery plan focusing on our efforts on the following priorities. Adapting to change, our government has provided tools to help travel sector companies to maintain their business through refocusings and resizings, and to facilitate air transport and connectivity, and to reinforce with the 12 international markets and the 46 millions of impressions that this campaign that you were mentioning will meet soon, to stay front of mind with all the travelers around the world. As this has reached the 12 markets, and this has had this great result of 46 million impressions.
Wow. Okay. So the campaign is having an impact. Excellent.
Yes.
So
yes.
So your President Ivan Duque's approach has been one of intelligent, preventive isolation, a logistically complex strategy that entails regionalizing lockdown measures according to risk. Only 1,800 lives lost to date. By cases per million residents, Colombia ranks as only 71st most effective country in the world, which is quite an impressive ranking to be at 71st number. Recently, the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Tourism announced the creation of a certification for service providers aimed at generating trust among travelers and consumers. Colombia has become the first country in Latin America with a tourism biosecurity stamp. Tell us more.
Yes, this is great news, because as you were mentioning, we are the first country in Latin America that launched, working very closely, the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Tourism and ProColombia in this seal. This seal, what it looks is that we will look for the traveler to trust that we are being a destiny that is safe to visit, that will also will be safe, the airlines will be safe, the hotels will be safe, the restaurants will be safe, all what is around the tourism opportunity and experience for our visitors. So this is a seal that is voluntary, but we invite all these companies to adopt this seal, because what we would like, as you were mentioning, is to reinforce that all these measures that the president has taken in this pandemic, that has been very successful in the numbers, is not that we are like happy about it, because it's very hard to just lose one life, but we have been, compared to other countries and with the numbers, we have been very, very fortunate to all the measures that the government has taken. So we are being perceived as a very safety destiny, and with this seal, we are confirming this. So we are taking advantage of it to promote that this is a safety destiny and that we all can be here and come back and to explore all the opportunities in nature and explore all the opportunities also with our cultural richness.
So it's really that trust and that peace of mind that you are trying to tap into, and you know, you are ahead of the game here, along with some very progressive countries who, from the very beginning, have focused on this aspect. You know, I'm talking about, for example, Singapore or Turkey. All of them have moved in that direction. So you can be rest assured that you are in that league of those countries who get it, that what safety means, you know, and people need a physical evidence of that. Okay, so let's move on. So one long-term strategy involves investing seriously in the infrastructure. In the World Economic Forum's 2019 Travel and Tourism Competitive Index, Colombia ranked 55th out of 140 countries surveyed. However, Colombia has dropped to 82nd for tourism services infrastructure and to 109 for the ground and port infrastructure. Even before the pandemic, investors were hesitant to build hotels in smaller towns, in large part due to poor roads that impedes communication and travel. Talk to us, how critical is to get this aspect of the strategy right, and what is being done to support such investment into the country? Because you know, it's an amazing country, and I'm sure that with the right support and focus, these investments into the country, driving FDI can not only be doubled but tripled.
For example, in this time, we are right now in Europe, in the United Kingdom, with investment roadshow, and we are showing right now 74 projects. 74 projects that are very related with tourism, because we are showing infrastructure, we are showing projects in tourism. So Colombia is a great destiny for investment. What we achieve, what we have achieved, for example, in this pandemic, it's outstanding. We have attracted, in this time of the year, more than 57 projects that will generate 37,000 opportunities of jobs. But also what we are trying is like to attract huge, great mega projects of tourism because we have all the opportunity to bring all the benefits, the tributary benefits, all the fiscal benefits. This is a government that is very friendly with the investors. We have, for example, a strategy that is called a red carpet, where what we do is that we throw the red carpet to these investors and we help them to know that this is a great opportunity to invest in tourism. So we have confirmed several projects of tourism in this time. And as I was mentioning, for example, right now we are having the investment roadshow that is in United Kingdom. It's virtual, of course, but we're having more than 1,200 people that are attending this investment roadshow, and we're showing you. We're showing investors 74 projects right now that will help us to attract, of course, these mega projects in infrastructure and these projects in tourism, for example. So I can let you know that this is a great country to invest. We want to be the regional leaders for investment. We are having all the tools to attract these mega projects, specifically in tourism. So I hope that we can announce great news in that sense very soon. But in October, we are also having a great investment opportunity that I hope that you can attend, that is called the Colombia Investment Summit. Okay. And tourism will be one of the key sectors that we will show projects in this through the regions, because the regions are, you know, great opportunities. You know that Colombia has we are a country of regions, and for example, we have Bogota, we have Medellin, we have Cartagena, and we have the coffee area. We have lots of regions that we are working hard to give them all the infrastructure and to give them all the tourist projects that they should have to come back with all the tourism, the international tourism, to enjoy the opportunities in our country.
That's amazing news that you are. So in a way, then the COVID is like a silver lining. It's giving you more time to prepare and ramp up, your product and improve on it. I would be most interested in your virtual brochure. And yes, we want to attend the summit, 100%. Because the New York Times recently deemed Colombia's Lost City an archaeological site on the Caribbean coast, one of the South America's most rewarding adventure destinations. So it's really important that you have the infrastructure for people to come and visit these sites. This is good news. So Colombia is the world's second most biodiverse country with 10% of the entire planet's biodiversity and hosts 50% of the world's tropical highlands. From 2010 to 2018, visits to Colombia national parks grew by 172%. What is more, the ecotourists are a high-value niche, spending an average of $3,000 during an average stay of 8 days. You have bird watching. I think you have 1,900 species in Colombia, and then it's created so many jobs because 150,000 visitors from United States alone in the last 10 years. I think it's and 47 million in income. Colombia has the largest number of orchids in the world with more than 4,000 different species. I mean, you are a haven, for ecotourism. What steps are being taken to make ecotourism industry more competitive, and how will technology support that effort?
I think that you have said the key word, technology. We are taking advantage, and as I was mentioning before, in Spanish, we call aislamiento, the isolation, aislamiento. And getting ready, we say it is alistamiento. So we are saying that we are not in aislamiento, that we are in alistamiento. So we are not isolated right now in terms of tourism, we are getting ready. We are getting ready because we think that once tourism gets back on track, travelers, the travelers will be interested in all the natural richness that you were mentioning. We are aware that traveler preferences and demands may change, and that the interest for sustainable tourism and the low influx experiences may increase. So as I pointed before, products related to nature, as you were mentioning, ecotourism, wellness, bird watching, fauna and flora, among others, as well as community-based tourism, will become a great opportunity, and that's what we are working hard on it. We are working that all these opportunities will be ready for the international visitors, for this new visitor that will aim for sustainable experiences, and we have that kind of tourism already in our country, but we are getting it more ready with a cultural experience, with a nature experience, and we are confident about the future. We believe that these measures that we have taken to face the pandemic will help recover its economic and social growth pace that you were mentioning, that was working, and that we believe that once it passed, we will try to bring all the visitors back with that safety, with that opportunities, and with the confidence that they will have a great experience in nature or in cultural or in a meeting coming into our country.
That's amazing. I mean, and I'm sure you will do that. So
thank you.
In recent years, the security situation, let's talk about security, it has improved greatly in 2016 due to the peace accord was signed between the government and with the armed militant group FARC, ending decades long of civil war. Since then, Colombia has worked hard to change its image and reality. I myself, I followed that situation. It was like a movie saga, it was of great interest us to see that what is happening, what are the benefits of it. The peace dividend brought almost immediate results to the tourism sector. Is Colombia safe to travel now?
As any destiny, you know, we work hard every single day for that. What I first need to say is that that story of insecurity is a past story, that we already closed that chapter in our lives, and we work very hard in this new chapter that we are working, and that the tourism was the new petroleum, and that we are having all the characteristics to be safe in all the senses that tourism needs to perceive, because this is also a thing that it has to be a perception very related with reality. So we as government, all the entities of the government work very hard for the experience that the international tourist, when he comes to our country, will be safe in all the senses. Safe when we come, when he start coming here, safe because of all this pandemic situation that has made us aware of our health vulnerability, and safe because the experience is the best experience we can show, because what we really can assure you is that what we have best in Colombia, other than the nature and the culture, is our people. Our people are talented people, our people are good people that wants to bring and to welcome the tourists to have a great experience. So I will never tell you that safety is something that is checked. Safety is something that we really appreciate and work very hard, but it is an asset that we right now enjoy as a country, and we appreciate it because of what you were mentioning was our before chapter. But that chapter is closed, and we are now very confident and working every single day for our safety in all the senses, for the international visitor to enjoy in our country.
Great. Thank you for sharing that with us. So I'm moving on to another segment, very important segment, very close to my heart, is the business tourism in Colombia. Let's talk about it. In 2018, Colombia was ranked within the top 30 nations out of 165 for my segment, according to the International Congress and Convention Association. That year saw the country host a total of 147 events, putting it above Chile, New Zealand, and Russia, and third in South America after only Brazil and Argentina. Bogota hosted the most events that year at 46, making the Colombian capital sixth in Latin American for MICE tourism. Tell us about this ambitious activity that your country has started undertaking, and what's the focus? What's driving it? What's the energy behind it?
Yes, as you were telling, the MICE sector is something that brings us the best of the world, because, you know, it brings conventions, it brings events that are, you know, professional meetings. So we were working very hard, and we are still working very hard in that strategy of attracting the high quality events that we want to attract into our country, because we have all the infrastructure for those kind of events, for them to enjoy not only the nature, the culture, but to enjoy with all the technology and all the platforms. So we have been working very hard, but we have confirmed already more than 200 something events. I don't recall exactly the number, but more than 250 events, if I am not wrong, to our country in this pandemic. So we are still working hard in attracting that kind of events that are related to professionals, events that are related to wealth, events that are, for example, we have gained also a lot of credibility in weddings. So we're still working in attracting those kind of events into our country, and the strategy still is working, and we are confirming ICA events, for example, the international conventions to come into our country. So that's also, thank you for mentioning, because that's also part of the strategy that we are working, not only nature and culture, but also the MICE events is a strategy that we are confirming, and we have great numbers to show in that sense still.
That's amazing. You know, that because in a very short period of time, you've just ramped up your meetings and conference product. It's just amazing. I was looking at the numbers, studying how it happened, and to have that convention center to go for ICA rankings, that is really incredible. Now you need World Tourism Forum as well there. You know.
And thank you for mentioning the convention centers, because the convention centers, what we are doing with them is that we are reinventing the experiences with them. Yeah. We're working with all of them in Colombia to have that kind of virtual experience, three-dimension experience. So that's something that also we are getting ready with it. And the events that we already have confirmed are 226. Now that I recall, they are coming from 34 countries. Wow. So we will still be confirming events, and we will keep working in this strategy of attracting these kinds of events for Colombia.
And I know some of the people, some of your leadership in that convention center, amazing people, amazing.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much.
Just one more segment, which is really incredible. I didn't know about it, but when I was doing research about Colombia, and I stumbled upon it. It's about your medical tourism index. According to the Medical Tourism World Index, as of May 2019, Colombia was ranked 10th overall out of an index of 41 countries for its medical tourism, and second behind Canada. It accounts for around 5% of the global medical tourism market and hopes to increase this up to 30% by 2030. Additionally, dental tourism, Colombia noted dental procedures can be up to 70% cheaper than in US and Canada. I know about it firsthand because last year my son flew from Toronto to Colombia to get his teeth done. And I thought he's crazy, but now I read the statistic and I found out why.
I think that one of the things that we are always working very hard is to show our great services. And I think that what you were mentioning is something that is very characteristic of us. We export services and we attract people to come into our country to enjoy those kind of services. I don't know if you know that ProColombia is not only the entity in charge of tourism, but we're also in charge of all the exports into our country, and we're in charge of attracting investment. We're in charge of showing that great opportunity of Colombia. So this is an opportunity of attracting tourism into that health sector, in different kinds, as you were mentioning, not only in for example, with dental opportunities, but also, you know, in different kinds of wealth and well-being experiences that we have great hospitals in our country. We have great medicals that, for example, in this pandemic has shown all their great qualities and capacities to attend, for example, this situation. And so we attract that kind of tourism into different regions into our country. So thank you for mentioning, because it's one of the things that we are going to take opportunity, because as you know, we have a reactivation plan into our country that is called Get Forward with Confidence. So we are trying, like, for example, to show this kind of situation as an opportunity, and this is a kind of opportunity that we can attract more people with this experience that we have in well-being and that we have for the health sector, to the people to come into our country and have great services from our professionals.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's been very, very insightful. So in closing, I'd like to say Colombia is one of the, I think what I'm discovering is one of the world's most diverse countries with 2 oceans, a range of climates, energetic cities, crazy wildlife. Your food, your culture, music, and dancing will perhaps be the best treatment and healing the world needs after the pandemic. What's more, it's clear that everything that can be done for the peace of mind of average visitor is being done. I thank you for this, and thank you for being on our platform.
I thank you for this opportunity, and I completely agree with your statement. It's very important to adapt to the new normality and to take this as an opportunity for growth, for an opportunity of reinvention. And we have identified this opportunity to adapt to the new characteristic of the tourist. So we are aware that the tourists will need to feel trust, to feel confident into coming into our country, and the preference have changed. And as you were mentioning, we are a country that we are rich in culture, rich in rhythms, rich in nature. So we just want you to take care of yourself right now, and to meet you soon. And that's our campaign. Please.
I'm looking so forward to it now. I'm looking forward to it. This is one country. I'm talking to so many people, so many countries every day, but I'm really today inspired by your vision, inspired by your positiveness. And I think that's what the world today needs, is that positiveness. Thank you very much for being on our platform.
Thank you for this opportunity, and it's an honor, this interview for me, and I hope that we can meet soon. In the meantime, please take care, because I am sure that we will go through this and grow, and the Colombia will be ready for you. Thank you.
Thank you.